What's going on, everybody? This is another CatchUp workout brought to you in part by, of course, CatchUp. Come on. So, today's workout, I'm taking you through a leg day. I'm hitting legs at the moment 3 days a week right now, and I'll be honest with you, although legs could be considered one of my strong points, one of my strong body parts, I still want to give them extra focus, especially my glutes and my hamstrings. I'll tell you why. Because, a lot of us like to train the muscles that we can see rather than the ones that we cannot see. So, for example, we like to hit our quads rather than our glutes and our hamstrings. So that's why I made sure that on these squats here, so exercise number one, I completed a barbell squat for 4 sets of a rep scheme of 12, 10, 8, 6. And I made sure that at the top of the movement, on the contraction portion of the movement, instead of only focusing on the emphasis of my quads, I made sure that I squeezed and I flexed my glutes and my hamstrings at the top of the movement. Again, reason being, guys, is because for a lot of people doing squats primarily, they will complain of knee pain. They will complain that, all they hear or all they feel, is that, their quads are burning and they're on fire, etc., when they're really not developing that mind-muscle connection with engaging their glutes and their hamstrings. So that's why I made sure at the bottom of the movement, I placed all of the weight on my heels, and as I'm driving up through my heels, in my mind, I am thinking about squeezing my glutes and my hamstrings as hard as I could, so that way I could try to minimize the impact on my quads and put most of the emphasis on my hamstrings and my glutes. So then the second movement of the day, we transitioned into a dumbbell stiff-legged deadlift. Now, guys, I'll be honest with you. Since I'm hitting 3 leg days a week, I will alternate between a stiff-legged deadlift, barbell deadlift, a stiff-legged deadlift, dumbbell variation, and then a sumo deadlift. Again, transitioning on those 3 days a week of a leg day. I prefer personally this particular movement when it comes to targeting my hamstrings, only because, again, the contraction that I feel at the bottom of the movement. So when I'm here, when the dumbbells are almost to the floor and I'm driving through my heels, I can minimize the impact of engaging my forearms and the rest of my upper body, of holding the dumbbells and feeling it only in my arms, and I can just hold the dumbbells and just contract at the top of the movement. Oh yeah, you saw almost like that phone fell, because I'm telling you guys, even though I was engaging my hamstrings as hard as I could, my forearms were on fire. So then, guys, what I moved into was I completed 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps of a one-legged leg press. Now, guys, in your workouts, I want you guys to remember, and I want you guys to prioritize at least one movement per workout where you're focusing on a unilateral exercise, which means that you're focusing on one side of the body separately from the other, or you're training, for example, one bicep separately from the other. On this particular day, since it was a leg day, I did a one-legged leg press. That way I could put all of my focus, all of my emphasis on my right leg first, and then transition onto my left leg. Now, again, guys, with this movement, I'm trying to prioritize hamstrings and glutes. So one little tip that I want to give you guys here is that if you see my foot placement, my toes are practically off of the pad because of my feet stance. My foot stance is so high up on the pad that my toes almost stick out. That is to make sure that you are completely driving from your heels, and therefore at the top of the movement, you are going to squeeze your glutes and your hamstrings to get your hamstrings and your glutes fully engaged rather than feeling it in your quads. So guys, if you see here, the first 3 big compound movements, I'm primarily focused on engaging my glutes and my hamstrings, because again, if you guys want to grow, if you guys want to focus on a particular body part, you have to give it primary focus. So once again, going back to the very first movement that we did for the day when it came to a traditional barbell squat, the amount of people that are doing barbell squats, guys, that are only feeling it in their quads are endless. Reason being is because they're not developing that mind-muscle connection to engage their glutes and their hamstrings at the top of the movement, instead of engaging primarily their quads. right? So the fourth movement of the day that we ended up doing was this gym that I'm training at has a plate-loaded hip thrust machine. This is like high-end gym. Really like it. So I completed 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps of a hip thrust. Again, guys, there's so many different ways you guys could do this. You guys can do it with dumbbells. You guys can do it with a barbell. If you have a Smith machine, go ahead and use that. But again, the primary focus of this workout is engaging our glutes and our hamstrings. And a hip thrust is probably the best bang for your buck when it comes to an exercise predominantly focusing on your glutes. Okay, so again, yes, this workout is primarily hamstring and glute focused, but we want to get a little bit of quad emphasis and quad stimulation in this leg day. Even though indirectly and directly, the quads were engaged in every single one of these movements that we did for the day, we want to give them a little bit more focus. So that is why I completed 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps per leg of a kettlebell walking lunge. Now, guys, I'm doing them with kettlebells personally because if you watched my last video, I emphasized and I focused on the importance of exercise rotation in order to avoid plateaus and to keep things interesting and fun when it comes to your workouts. Whether you've been using, let's say for 6 to 8 weeks, you were doing barbell walking lunges, go ahead and swap that out for a kettlebell walking lunge. Again, different stimulation, different weight distribution on each arm. Barbell is not a unilateral movement. Kettlebell is. Why? Because each kettlebell in your hand, for this particular movement that I was using today, I was using 40-pound kettlebells in each hand. It's 40 pounds per side rather than a barbell where you're going to put 135 pounds, so to speak, on your back, and how that weight is distributed is going to vary depending on your dominant leg. So yeah, guys, again, little things like this to incorporate into your training will go a very long way 2-3 years from now, a couple of months from now, because again, guys, if you're sticking with the same movements each and every day, your body will plateau, your body will get used to the stress stimulant that you're putting on it, and therefore you will stop seeing results, right? So the next movement of the day, I did 5 sets of approximately 12 to 15 reps of a single leg hamstring curl. So again, guys, I'm focusing on hamstrings and glutes into this workout, and I am trying to alternate and swap out exercises for different ones. So there's a variety of different ways that you could do a hamstring curl. Lots of different gyms have a lying hamstring curl. You can get a bench and do a dumbbell lying hamstring curl. But on this particular day, because I performed so many movements on this particular day for hamstrings and glutes that were not unilateral exercises, I wanted to throw in one unilateral exercise to have primary focus on each one of my hamstrings. So then after that, I followed that with 5 sets of 12 to 15 reps of a leg extension where I used both legs on let's say day 1 of 3 of my leg days. I would do a single-legged leg extension, where on this particular day, I did a regular traditional leg extension where both legs were engaged at the same time. And then we finished off this leg day with a standing calf raise, 4 sets of 15 to 21 reps, really focusing on that squeeze at the top of the movement and coming all the way down to practically where my heels were touching the ground. And then I finished off, that was it for the portion of the leg day. It was about 32 sets total. I know it's a lot of volume, guys. Go about the volume of your training, about it in your own personal way. If you find that, you're training muscle groups multiple times a week, you may want to lower your volume, rather as if you're training muscle groups only 1 or twice a week, you may want to increase that volume so that way you have more total volume over the span of a 7-day period. And yeah, guys, so I finished off this leg day with 4 sets of 15 to 21 reps of a straight leg raise for my abs, really focusing on my feet staying together and my toes pointed outwards to get full contraction in my abdominals. And then I wrapped it up with 4 sets of a weighted ab crunch where I'm not resting my lower back or any of my back on the decline bench as I'm coming down. and I've just raised the plate up. So yeah, guys, I will talk to you in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you really did, I would appreciate a thumbs up in the description box down below. Subscribe for more workouts, and there's a lot more to come, guys. I'm really excited for how this channel is beginning to grow. We are almost at 50 subscribers. That makes me extremely happy because there's 50 people out there that I'm going to help change their narrative, and I see how they want to take personal ownership of their goals, and it's going to be our channel, and we're going to be successful the best that we can. We don't give up on this channel, and most importantly, we are catching up to the best version of ourselves. So yeah, guys, I will talk to you in the next video. Peace.